Yeah.
Great. At this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order. If you please stand for the invocation, please. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to you in prayer today, we'd like to thank you for all your many blessings. We appreciate the rain we're receiving. It was badly needed. We appreciate you keeping us safe from all the recent storms, and we ask for your wisdom and guidance today as we attend to the business for Stokes County. And it's in your name that I pray these things. Amen. Invocation. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you. At this time, I just need to get approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections or changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next thing on the agenda, and I'm going to just say, in case I forget to say it during the comments, Commissioner Mendenhall can't be here today because he had knee replacement surgery, and he's still trying to get recovered from that so he can get back to our meetings. So if you'd remember him in your prayers, I would appreciate it as well. So the next item is the presentation of the fiscal year 2022-2023 recommended budget.
That's me. Yay! Before I read the budget message out for everybody, I first want to take a second to thank everybody for working so hard on the budget. Lisa and Tracy have spent a lot of long hours, and I spent some long hours with them here doing some things too. And it was definitely a challenge this year. We've learned a lot this year. It was our first budget without Joya Edwards here. He was our former finance director. He was here for 43 years. So there are a lot of things to I think we've made a good effort and worked well together, and everybody worked hard, and I appreciate that very much. With that said, it is my privilege to present to you the recommended budget for the 22-23 fiscal year for your review. In accordance with the general statutes of North Carolina, the budget is balanced and prepared under the guidelines of the North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. A copy of this document after this meeting will be filed with the clerk to the board, and it'll be posted on the county's website where it's available to the public for inspection. We also can have paper copies available if anybody would like a paper copy as well. My 22-23 recommended budget includes a tax rate of 31 per $100 valuation for general county and 31 school current expense fund, 4-cent dedicated education fund, and 8 cents for all fire districts, which is not an increase from the current rate. A mandatory public hearing for the recommended budget has been scheduled for Monday, June the 6th at 7:00 p.m. here in the Commissioners' Chambers. The purpose of the county's annual budget process is to develop a fiscally responsible plan that enables the organization to accomplish the priorities established by the Board of County Commissioners. The priorities in this budget are based on the guidance received through a budget goals work session held during the month of March with the Board of Commissioners. In accordance with those goals and priorities, this budget does not include a tax increase. This budget does include some funding, some non-recurring items with ARP funds, as this will help to free up other county funds, and we will not be dependent on those funds moving forward. Using the ARP funds for some of the larger purchases reduces the general fund contribution and will in turn reduce debt service in the future by not having many of those large ticket items financed for future budgets. These items do increase the overall budget, but they are not county funds. The guidance from the Board of Commissioners have many things in common, including keeping the fund balance at or above 20%, no tax increase, courthouse expansion and renovations, including a suitable space for Board of Elections, a new animal shelter, and the demo of the old prison. We worked hard to cut the budget to reduce the general fund contribution and keep the fund balance at 20%. But in the end, this was not possible due to some increases in expenditures such as insurance, retirement, longevity, and salaries and overtime. We based revenues and expenditures on historical data with the goal to do as few budget amendments as possible. In my opinion, we amend the budget too many times throughout the fiscal year and would like to see this budget year be different in that aspect. While I realize things happen and there will be times we have to make changes, I'm hoping we can make this an exception rather than the normal protocol. My goal was to present a realistic, true budget that will work throughout the entire fiscal year with not as many changes as we've done in past years. The upcoming budget year presents many challenges with several large projects that need to be completed to ensure that Stokes County citizens get the best possible service from their local government. The goal is to present a balanced budget that includes no tax increase while adequately funding county services and planning for the future. The requested fiscal year 22-23 budget coming in from all the departments was $53,962,978, which would be over a $9 million increase over last year's approved budget. After carefully examining and considering all the requests, we arrived at a recommended budget of $49,118,782 for this fiscal year. This would require a general fund contribution of over $3.5 million, bringing the fund balance to $18.18. As per the county assets balance statement generated on May 16th, we have a $1,780,662 surplus, meaning that we will not use all the fund balance appropriated in last year's budget. And there is a possibility that we won't even use any of that funding, but I don't want to predict that just yet until June 30th comes, but it looks like we're not going to use any of that funding. With just putting back in about $3 million, that would get us back to 20% even after the appropriation from this recommended budget year. Some contributing factors increasing the budget can be seen across all departments, including a 5% increase in health and dental insurance, totaling approximately $224,246.80 for health, $9,645.48 for dental annually, with life insurance rates remaining the same. Retirement increased this year from 12.04 to 13.04% for law enforcement, and 11.42 to 12.14 for all other employees, totaling $166,780. Overtime was under budgeted last year and accounted for a $320,000 increase in this year's budget for EMS. Longevity and part-time and salaries added an additional $565,973 to the budget. These items alone increased the budget over $1.2 million. The rising cost of fuel can be seen across the budget as we plan for higher prices throughout this fiscal year. The next challenge we faced was the Board of Education's budget that we received on May the 12th. This year's budget looks drastically different from those in past years. The current expense budget is funded through ad valorem taxes, and the tax rate of 62 cents. The schools receive 31 cents of the total tax collected. Current expense funding request from the fiscal year 21-22 budget was fully funded for the total of $14,981,977. This fiscal year, the funding request from the schools for current expense is $17,175,955, which is a 14.64% increase over last fiscal year. The total amount of recommended funding is $15,048,499. Any additional funding will require more of the tax rate to go to the schools or a transfer from the fund balance, either one resulting in a larger reduction from general fund to balance the county budget. The capital outlay budget is funded through a percentage of sales tax allocated to the schools from Article 40 and 42. In the fiscal year 21-22 budget, $182,600 was allocated from the school's fund balance, kept here to fully fund the $2.1 billion request. The request for fiscal year 22-23 is $26,534,875, which is a 1,250% tax increase over last fiscal year. I'm recommending funding in the amount of $3,665,000, which along with the sales tax includes almost the entire fund balance kept by the county for emergencies for the schools. It is my opinion that the schools should receive their fund balance and they can establish an emergency fund or use the funding the best way they see fit. It is my hope that this large increase in funding as compared to last year, while nowhere near the requested amount, can go a long way in the updates and repairs needed at the schools. The only way to fully fund a request of this magnitude will be to go out for debt. The Commissioners and the Board of Education can further discuss these issues at their joint meeting on June the 14th at 2:00 p.m. in the Commissioners' chambers. And I'm not going to read the entire highlights portion of the message because you all can kind of look over that later on and see. We just tried to highlight all the areas that have major changes from last year, places where requests were cut, and things that were recommended in the budget that would change the budget from last year. So all those are reflected in the next couple of pages. One thing you will see is a new section in this year's recommended budget, which is titled the American Rescue Plan. There's a tab in your budget for that. Stokes County has been allocated $8.8 million in American Rescue Plan funds. $4.4 million has been received, with the other expected at any time. We actually got something the other day saying we would be getting that any day now, so that's coming pretty soon. The board has committed $2.4 million to the expansion of broadband recently, leaving $6.4 million available. I'm recommending using $2,793,587 of those available funds for some of the non-recurring expenditures in this year's budget. This would leave $3,606,413 unassigned from those funds. This is allowable under the final rule from the U.S. Treasury, stating that local governments receiving anywhere from $0 to $10 million can take the standard allowance as revenue replacement into your general fund. With using ARP funds as revenue replacement, this allows local government to reimburse salaries and benefits beginning March 3rd, 2021 to current. Alternatively, using the revenue replacement funds on county salaries and benefits frees up non-grant general fund revenues to be used on local government capital cost and general government services. By using the standard allowance to reimburse salaries and benefits, this will eliminate having to follow federal procurement guidelines and reporting of funds. We will continue to follow local and state guidelines. The School of Government recommends that all counties that have received under the $10 million allocate their funds in this way. Tax collection is our next item here, and its ad valorem taxes are the main source of revenue for the county and fund the school's current expense budget. At 62 cents, the collected funds are split 31-31 between county and school. Based on the last audit, the actual collection rate is 98.21. We have collected $25,079,604 in property taxes to date. The recommended budget maintains the current rate. I'm pausing for some water for 1 second. All the reading. Your sales tax collections are up by a little over 13% over last year as of March 31st, with April, May, and June left to be collected and reported. Also up are Article 40 and 42 sales tax receipts, where a portion goes to the school system to fund their capital outlay budget and a portion to the fire service districts. Article 40 and 42 are up by over $476,000 over last year for the same time period, which is a 12% increase with 3 months remaining for collections. Previously, a decrease in sales tax had been budgeted due to uncertainty during COVID, but so far the last couple of budgets, we've only seen increases happen since then. At some point, I would say that's going to level off, but hopefully it'll keep in that trend. The fire tax remains at 8 cents with no major changes to their fund, and with no large changes to any of the enterprise funds, which are the Stokes Reynolds Memorial Hospital Fund, Regional Sewer Fund, and Danbury Water Fund. Capital projects in this budget that you'll see: the Stokes County Animal Shelter is proposed in this budget. The approximate cost of that shelter is $1.3 million, with that to come from financing. The shelter would be 6,000 square feet and meet all state guidelines. Our existing shelter is out of date, and the size and location are inadequate. During several meetings with the Animal Shelter Study Group put together by the Board of Commissioners, this was recommended the size be of the new shelter by the committee. We also visited other counties and toured animal shelters as part of our due diligence before placing this in the budget as a request. The courthouse renovations and expansion, we've discussed several times in a couple of different commissioners' meetings, and as you know, that request came from the Superior Court judge, being that they're out of space at the courthouse. The courthouse is in need of a lot of space and much renovations. We received a $2 million grant towards this project from the state through a SCIF grant, and this project has been approved by the North Carolina Office of State Budget Management for that funding. The total cost of the project is estimated $8 million, with $2 million being funded from the grant and $6 million would come from financing. This led to the construction need for a new Board of Elections office. The courthouse request has identified that space occupied by the Board of Elections that's needed for further courthouse expansion. And since the Board of Elections is not a courthouse function, the need for their new office space has arose from this request. We have completed numerous assessments of county buildings, but in the end could not accommodate the Board of Elections needs, thereby needing to construct a new building. The estimated cost of this building would be $595,000. with the proceeds coming from financing. And then you'll notice the Walnut Cove Green Box site and the Pinnacle Green Box site, while approved in a previous budget, are in this budget for some approval. Before Ms. Edwards left as finance director, she did a budget amendment doing away with an original capital project ordinance for both of these projects because of the change in those. So now that you are receiving the $250,000 in a SCIF grant towards Walnut Cove, which has been approved by NCOSBM, we still will need approximately $100,000 to complete that project and revamp that site where it's at. Same thing with Pinnacle. That was approved in the beginning to be financed, but that went away when the other capital project went away, so we want to be sure that we have the funding designated for both those projects in this budget. That additional funding for Walnut Cove could either come through financing, same thing for Pinnacle, or you could, after looking at your budget, decide you wanted to use ARP funds to fund that additional money with as well. We just didn't add that in at this time, but that's something you could definitely make a change to and reduce your debt there in the future. And then in contingency, you'll see an increase in the contingency budget of $100,000. This is mainly from a fuel contingency that we placed in this year's budget. Not knowing the cost of it and what it's cost so far in this budget year, we hadn't anticipated, and so we wanted to be sure we had enough funding in there to cover whatever happens with fuel cost. Your new School for Safe Check Fund is the 4-cent fund that was established years ago to pay school debt and selected operating expenses. It's funded through the ad valorem tax, state-collected motor vehicle tax, and a transfer from general fund in the same amount each year. The total amount for this fiscal year is $2,969,286, which includes all those following sources of income where all that comes from. And each year, we decided years back to change that general fund transfer to 911,820 instead of skipping that year like was done in a budget past. It was almost 2 million before that. It's my formal recommendation that the Board of Commissioners adopt the recommended budget at $49,118,782. Balancing this budget has required a thorough analysis of all the county's revenue streams combined with attempting to meet the requests from each of the county's departments. I've thought critically about each of the requests, and my conclusions were based on the overall well-being of the citizens of Stokes County. I would like to thank each of the county employees for their tireless efforts and continuous service that they provide to the citizens of Stokes County. There's a significant amount of work that goes on behind the scenes and way outside of the 8:30 to 5 workday that most people never realize is going on, but this kind of dedication does not go unnoticed. The past year has certainly presented significant challenges for our community with rising gas prices, essential shortages, and COVID-19 extending into 20, 21, and 22. I believe that Stokes County government has shown that we are here to serve our citizens, especially in their time of need. We finally seem to be getting back some sense of normalcy, and I want to take this opportunity to thank all the county staff for a job well done. We will continue to face many challenges with unpredictable fuel costs, medication and food shortages, and many other issues plaguing our nation. We will continue to work hard to provide the service that the citizens of Stokes County deserve. The recommended fiscal year 22-23 budget continues to preserve high-quality service, maintains the property tax rate, includes some major capital projects while reducing some future debt by using a portion of the American Rescue Act funds to purchase most of the major equipment in this budget that is typically financed. I want to thank the Board of Commissioners for its support and valuable direction. I look forward to working with each of you in the coming weeks to adopt a budget that serves our citizens. And following the budget message in your budget packets are some important documents behind. One is the upcoming 22-23 budget schedule, with your upcoming meetings with the Board of Education, your meetings together for work sessions, the public hearing. The public hearing is always held here now, so we can live stream and archive that. And then you also have a sales tax summary, an equipment list, and a salaries list. And if there's anything that any of you would like prior to any of the budget meetings, further information on anything to be more prepared, just feel free to reach out to us and we'll get you anything you need. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, that was long.
Okay. I don't think anybody signed up for public comments, did they? Okay. Do board members have any comments on the budget as presented?
None at this time. I just got to laugh at the school capital request.
Do you have any?
No, I'm good.
Well, Shannon, thank you for presenting what I feel is a very responsible budget. One of the big things that I've said ever since I was elected is that it's very important to be a good steward of the public trust, and I'm always reminded of that at budget time because that's one of the most important jobs that we do, if not the most important. And I commend you for bringing us this budget, maintaining a fund balance as you have, and no tax increase. Very few added positions, it looks like, and but we do have a lot of uncertainty with fuel. Other things, we have the capital projects that need to get started before the costs rise even higher. And yes, it is very disconcerting that the Board of Education would send us such a request. That's a, what did you say, 1,250% increase over last year's capital.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're pranking us or what. But as we know, we've fully funded their capital request the last couple of years, so I'm not sure what kind of game they're playing, but we do know with the economic inflation and uncertainty, we've got to be very careful how we spend money and how we budget. So I don't understand with their loss of admin or ADM why that would be the case that they would send us that, but we'll have a chance to discuss that with them coming up really soon. And like you mentioned, we will have a budget public hearing in June. I think you said June 6th.
6 at 7.
So that would be a time for anybody to come and talk to us about their feelings about the budget, which will be made public and out there for everybody to see. So we welcome any input to that. So,
Madam Chair, if I may.
yes.
Last year, correct me if I'm wrong, last year was the largest we'd ever give the school board for capital, and that was 2.1 million.
2.1. Mm-hmm.
And then before that was over $1 million, correct?
1.7.
And then the year before that was also over $1 million.
It was 1.7 2 years back to back. Before that, it was 1.5, and then it went to 2.1 from the 1.7.
Okay, and just tell me before that, what was their capital budget looking like? Was it like $250,000, $300,000
I looked back a little bit just for my own, when I was trying to put some of this together, just to see, starting with some older budgets to look at. And in past years, it had been, let's see.
I could speak to that when I was
You know, you were on the
Yeah.
Board of Education. In 16-17, they received $651,000. Before that, 1.5 in 17-18. In 15-16, it was $800,000. So
It was rare to ever get more than 500,000 to 800,000 when I was on the board,
They were paying off debt at that time, school debt.
capital, yeah,
which we're still doing.
Yeah.
yeah. So the recommended amount of over 3.6 is a pretty large increase from, but that does include the
huge
fund,
increase.
all the sales tax plus that fund balance that was kept here. So,
We shall see. All right, there are no public comments, so I'll move on to comments from the manager and commissioners, starting with Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to welcome everybody that's in the room here today and those that may be on live stream to watch our meeting. I would encourage the public, those who have time and are interested in doing so, to get a copy of this and review this budget and come and tell us what you think about it during public comments. The more input we get, the better job we can do from the public. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Andy?
No comments, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Great to see everybody. Lord bless for another beautiful weekend. I was telling Commissioner Morris, I carried my grandson to Cascade Falls yesterday, believe that or not. And it was an adventure. I enjoyed it. And we get much needed rain here today. The Lord bless us with that too. So appreciate y'all being here.
And I'd like to welcome everybody online and the people here today, and thank you for being here. And also remind everyone that we do have several teams in the state playoffs this week. Girls soccer at West, girls softball at West, girls soccer at South, girls softball at South, soccer and softball. I don't know about baseball, sorry, but we may have a baseball team still out there. But we wish them luck with their playing in the really. I had it written down, but I think the softball is in the regional, West Regional for both West and South.
Richard?
Yep, he's yeah. Yep.
The game from the home game at South from Thursday to Wednesday, just got
Okay. All right, so there you go. We need to keep up, wish them luck. Shannon?
I just got a couple of quick things. Welcome to everybody here. It's nice to see everybody here. Just want to make mention of a nice event that I attended last week at the Pine Hall building. If you've not been there, you need to check that building out. It's such a nice space to use for all kinds of events and things, and the doctor's office is there as well. We attended the Soil and Water Conservation District banquet where all the local kids were awarded things. They had art projects there were tons of different categories in that. It was nice to see all of them be rewarded for that, and it was a
that
nice
was
presentation. And Commissioner Cox attended that as well. It was nice. And then I wanted to share one quick, I won't read the entire letter, I'll just hit the highlights of it, but I wanted to share a letter that I received from Frank Sales in response to a trip he took on an ambulance recently in our county, that he wanted to make sure that I let everyone know how impressed he was with our EMS staff and the fact they could give him a new method of blood transfusion en route to the ER. He was our first recipient of blood on an ambulance, and he wanted to make that known, that he was very impressed and wanted to let the Board of Commissioners know that we've got a really great EMS staff, and that he was very impressed and wanted to be sure that they got that credit for a job well done. So I wanted to mention that to you all as well too. So that's it.
And my brother took a ride on the ambulance Saturday night too.
Oh.
And we really, really appreciate, he's fine.
Yeah, good.
Trying to get to the bottom of his issue, but yes, we appreciate them all the time, but especially when you need them.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right, I'm gonna read the conflict of interest statement before moving any further. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda for today, or one that could be perceived as a conflict of interest?
I don't.
All right, none. Move on to consent. That's the minutes and the budget amendments.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the information agenda, Mr. Hooker's presentation from the Register of Deeds, please.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I told you last month I'd be back. I went to work right away, so I got this done, and there's not a lot to it. This is kind of an information, obviously, about business names. I told you the gist of it. Thank you. I told you the gist of it last month. Some of these business names are going to expire, and there's not a lot of information out there on. I know there's some business owners and members in the business community here in the room. I'll jump into it then. I've never worked one of these things.
It might not be on. Let's see.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay. Which button do I hit?
There's little arrows.
Okay.
Hit the right one.
And you've got it in front of you, correct? The PowerPoint, okay. I found this legal definition on a law firm's website. I liked it better than what I saw in the general statute. And it says an assumed business name is not the legal name of a business, rather it is the name of a business presents to the public. And I've got an example there. It was Duke Energy now, but this was one of our documents we had at the office. It was Duke Power Company LLC was their legal name, but their assumed name was Duke Power. That's just an example. And then the next slide I've got is, I'm getting behind. I thought I had all that worked out to where it just came up at once. I'm not a guru of these things by any means, PowerPoints. That second or the third slide there is kind of a list of business entities you may run across. And they'll be listed on those assumed business name certificates as well. Sole proprietorships could be just an individual. General partnerships, and those two start at the county level, and the rest of them all start at the state level, except maybe the trust. But I've got a slide in here about state versus county. That's the next one. People are so confused about business names, and the whole purpose of this is because the assumed business name law changed in 2017. And I told Commissioner Cox last month, I said, they have a sole proprietorship and it's going to expire because it was filed before the law change, December 1st of this year. And so this is kind of a breakdown of the state versus county. LLCs, corporations are registered first through the state at the Secretary of State's office. And they're now issued a SOS ID number. And that will go on the certificate once you file an assumed business name. Used to, you had to look for the name, that if the name was already taken. Other names, these are known as fictitious names. There was one more. But assumed business name is what the act is, and that's what it really goes by. But they're also called doing business as fictitious names. Used to, you had to find a name that was completely individual from any other name registered with the state. But now there may be more than one name in operation, but they have different SOS ID numbers, and that's how the state recognizes them differently. And that was just the next point there. 2 or more businesses with the same name may be registered, but they each have a different ID number. That's at the state level. And the county level, sole proprietorship and general partnerships can be created with their assumed business name certificate being filed at the Register of Deeds office. But here's the meat of it. If an LLC or corporation is going to do business as a name other than the one registered with the North Carolina Secretary of State, then that business needs to file an assumed business name with the Register of Deeds. And it all came about because of the name law change in 2017. And there's the general statute reference if anybody wants to look it up. And at the beginning of it, it says the purpose of this article is to afford the public a means of ascertaining the real name of persons engaging in business in this state under an assumed business name by requiring those persons to register the assumed business name as provided in this article. And that was part of the law, was to create a database that everyone can go to find out the real name of the person engaging in business. The new law went into effect December the 1st, 2017. And the 2 biggest changes was those certificates no longer had to be notarized. That's something that took place about a month before I took office. So before that, they had a lot to notarize in that office because those came through all the time. And we don't have to notarize those anymore. It provides a sunset date for those assumed business names filed prior to December 1st, 2017, which is December 1st of this year. And I've got a copy of what a certificate looks like now. That form changed with the law. It's a legal form, so we cannot give advice on how to fill it out because we're not attorneys. But those instructions are there. I put that in there. Well, it downloads with it when you print it offline. I did fill one out. I got behind again because I'm not good at these PowerPoints. I did a mock one just so you can see one filled out. If it's an LLC, it would have the SOS ID number. It's required on the form. I'm not telling you how to fill it out. I'm just filling it in so you can see how it would look like filled in. One thing, the street address, they cannot be P.O. boxes. The mailing address can be, but it must have a physical address of the business. And once you have one on record, it can be amended and it can be withdrawn. And we have those certificates in the office as well. And we have all this on our website too. You can download these forms, or you can download them from edpnc.com too, which is Business Link North Carolina, that's run out of the Commerce Department. And the bottom line is, this is the whole reason I'm here, is just to get the word out. If you filed a business name prior to December 1st, 2017, an assumed business name, it will expire December 1st, 2022. And you've got from now till then to get that, to get a new new name filed. And there's another note there. There's no need to withdraw the old name. It will automatically expire December. You just need to simply file a new one. And the last page is the EDPNC. I'm going to get that right. Their telephone number, their email, the website, and that's the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. Used to be known as Blink, or Business Link North Carolina, and they had a revamp of their website, and that's the new contact information for them. We direct people to them basically daily. That's a lot of questions that we don't have the answers to, that they're the ones to go to for that. And that's all I have. It was quick. I'm sorry if it seemed winged. It was. It's a whole lot to it, and it's. I just wish the state had done a little bit better job of getting that information out, and I thought the people in this county need to know about it. Any questions you may have?
Okay.
Is the state doing anything about contacting, of course, we're only concerned about the ones in Stokes County, but are they doing anything about contacting business owners through the state?
We didn't hear anything like that at the conference. We had a whole presentation on this in March, and I didn't hear anything. They had plans to get the word out and get some marketing in between now and then. They've had 4.5 years, and we haven't really seen anything. But they say they've got some plans to get the word out better between now and December.
Okay.
We didn't hear anything specifically about individual business owners getting an email or anything.
And besides coming to the commissioners meeting, I know you mentioned something about it a few weeks ago. Is that correct? And I think it even got put in the paper. Is there anything-
I'm gonna reach out to Neil, and I'm gonna try to go to some Rotary meetings and some stuff to get this across the county.
Okay. Is there anything else we're doing to try to notify the business owners in Stokes County?
It's mostly just me going out and getting the word out. I'm gonna get with Neil and at the paper and get with some other civic groups to get the word out to the general county. This is my first stop.
Okay. Thank you, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Just one question, Brandon. Is there any penalty for not making the deadline or whatever?
That's a good question that I have not gotten an answer to yet. That's the one question I've tried to ask and I have not gotten a response, is what happens when it lapses. But I'm working on that information.
Okay, that's all I have.
You got your business set up with the accountant, would he automatically have this information as well? Or should?
Not necessarily. Like I said, it's not been well publicized. That came in right before I took office, that law change. I don't know if they sent that to CPAs. You'd think that something like this would get brought up at associations, like a CPA, or if there's an association, like I don't know what the professional organization is for CPAs, but like the bar for attorneys. I don't know if this was presented to any of them. I have no idea. But all I know is what I'm trying to work on this summer.
We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe getting the word out to some of those groups, and like the Chamber of Commerce could probably send out
And talk to Kathy.
an email about it and stuff, so hopefully. So the forms are just available from being downloaded from that site?
They're on our website, they're in our office, and they're on the EDPNC website.
Okay.
And that's
They
that
can't pick them up
website.
at your office? They could pick them
Oh,
up at your
yeah,
office?
we have them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we get them. We get them from their website and just print them off and have them available with the instructions.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a copy.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
down there for the meeting.
We'll be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Brandon, can all this be turned in back into your office? They have to send it to the state.
Yeah, so assume these business names are filed with us. All assume business names. We upload those to the Secretary of State, and they maintain the database for the entire state.
Okay.
Yep.
Any fee for it at all?
$26.
$26.
Same as it is for a deed and most other miscellaneous documents.
All right. Thank you, Brandon.
Okay. While we're on the information agenda, Kara from VIA couldn't be here today, but one thing I wanted to mention that she was going to tell you about was there's a possibility that we're going to apply for a grant, hopefully this week, that will, the money is to be used towards I thought this was really cool. It came out in our substance use meetings that we've been having with VIA, and there's a really good chance that we could maybe get a grant that would help in the development of a mobile app that people could download on their phones. That would be a resource that would link all the resources for treatment and services, and for law enforcement, for the school system, for students, parents, teachers. I mean, it would just be a great resource with everything at their fingertips, and all they have to do is download the app, and it would have everything in it. And so it's a $500,000 grant that would go towards developing that app for our county. And I thought that was a great idea that came out of that meeting. And then this availability of the funds or through the grant opportunity popped up, but I just wanted y'all to be aware of that we're going to try to go after that. I think it'll be a good resource. All right, that's all for information. So moving on to discussion, and the first item is Mr. Brim with the tax office agenda.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just want to say that one thing that we have with the tax bills, when we do a mailing, we're able to send out information, and I'll get with Brandon, and that's something that we make and put in with the tax bills in an insert and get it out to everybody at no cost. So when they get the tax bill, so that'll be good. So I'll discuss that with Brandon, and maybe we can get that done for those assumed business names. First item I got is the month collection status report. Like Shannon said, we've collected through the end of April $29,079,605, or a little over 101.6% of the budgeted amount for this year. Moving on to the real and personal releases of less than $100, we have one account that's $6.63. Real and personal refunds less than $100, we have two tax bills that total $74.60. And then the final item is the real and personal refunds more than $100. We had 5 accounts that total $971.39. Then we have the EMS jail billing write-offs. We have 14 total billings. It's $8,000.60. And then the final item that I have, we have 2 present use value late applications. That's all I have.
All right. Do any board members have questions?
None.
Thank you for the information.
You're welcome. And all I request is on the June 13th consent agendas, move the real and personal refunds more than 100, the EMS jail billing write-offs, and the present use value late applications to the June 13th consent agenda.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll do it. Thank you. Okay. Next item is the insurance renewals for the fiscal year 22-23. Ms. Glenda.
I probably don't need this. So, our insurance renewals we received from the NCACC, they went up slightly, but not as much as I was expecting. Actually, our workers' comp went down, and our liability, property, and auto went up a little bit. A little bit of that was vehicles. We've hit a lot of deer this year, and we've had a few accidents that kind of made the rates go up. But we do get a multiple pool discount, and we do get the longevity credit. Besides them providing us insurance, the NCACC also provides a lot of safety programs for us. They work a lot with Jamie and with Tiffany in regards to some programs to help with our safety credits. So they are a good program. We also get back reimbursement for bumpers, guards for our vehicles for the Sheriff's Department, and for vest. So we do get some reimbursements that are not included in this that we get along the way. We just have to provide the data. A new program they provided this year is a first responder assistance program. And that's for our E911, EMS, I think the fire marshal's office can be included, and any first responders. And they do a lot with like counseling if there's certain things from magnitude of a call that they received that's bothering them or anything to that nature, and it's a free program. They just have to get with Jamie. She gives them the sheet that actually, we don't do anything. It gives a phone number, they contact them, and it's all included in our current premiums. So with that being said, I would like to request the board that we renew with our NCACC for the upcoming year.
Okay. Board members have any questions?
I'm good with it.
I have one question.
Yes.
Have we really made it known to everybody about this program? Do they know it's there?
My understanding, the HR department has, but if not, I can scan in the document. I actually have a copy that I received when I went to the last regional meeting, and I can make sure and get IT to send it to all employees. That's no problem.
So, would it be like the law enforcement, like the sheriff's
Yes,
office?
they would all be included also
Included.
in that program.
Good. That's good. Just, yeah, as long as they are aware that that's
I think-
available, that's a good
I think
resource.
they've already let everyone
Okay.
know, but I'll confirm with them
Alright.
and make sure if they haven't, I'll be glad to get Diane or David to send it out for me.
Thank you. Do you need this on next time's action?
If it could be moved to today's action, that would be great, because I have to send back all the paperwork by June the 1st.
Okay.
So if we can get this one, other stuff's good to wait. This one I just need moved if we can.
Okay, is that consensus of the board? All right, we'll move this to item C on action. Thank you. And you're next on transportation, so
I think I have the next three.
okay.
I sent out an RFP for transportation for the upcoming year, and we did receive a new person this year, along with Wyvetti and Gentle Care. They were two that we were already in contract with for this fiscal year. But this year, we also received one from Mountain Pride Transport. The rates for Wyvetti did increase, but not tremendously due to the cost of fuel. I was surprised it didn't go up more. Theirs increased a little, but then Gentle Care, theirs actually stayed the same. And then Mountain Pride, he come in kind of in between them. So Wyvetti's was around 404 and 330, and his was 355. And I've spoken with Stacy and Vicky, and they're both in agreement to proceed on with contracting with all three companies. That way, if one can't, the other can, and down the line. And Wyvetti is always the one they normally choose first.
Okay.
But this can be, if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer, but this can go to next meeting if.
Okay. Board
No
members have any
questions for me.
I think it's wise to have three, just because I know just from having an uncle in a nursing home in Forsyth County that's had to go back and forth to the hospital, sometimes they will wait hours to be transported back to their nursing home. So I know there's a real shortage, so the fact that you do have three choices, maybe that'll help tremendously to have three that you could call. So I think it's a good idea to contract with all three of them.
We do.
Right.
We like to have multiple choices.
Yes, definitely. Okay, we'll put that on action next time, and that takes us to the senior meals program.
Yes. Our senior meals program, we are currently with the Second Harvest Food Bank. I talked with Vicki. They've been very pleased with, I think they've worked out all the kinks from the beginning. Everything seems to be going well. Their rates increased by 20 cents per meal, so they will now be $4.10 per meal. With everything, we expected a increase with everything we've pretty much done this year. But it did not go up to a tremendous amount. Currently, we are paying like $3.90. So, and also, in addition to our normal senior program, Vicki actually applied for 2 grants, and it's through the ARPA funds, and she actually received those. So, in addition to our current program, she is going to be doing a frozen pickup meals. She's received a grant for that. It's like $46,812. And then the Providence Meals will be providing that, which is a company, or they're all together, they just have different names. It's still under the Second Harvest Food Bank. It's just a different division under them. But they submitted a proposal for theirs would be $3.90 per meal. And with this, her target areas are going to be the Sandy Ridge and Francisco communities. And she has talked with the food pantry and with Oak Ridge Church. And they're kind of getting the word out in those areas that this will be a new program. And she's got some flyers. If anybody wants any, she sent me a copy. I'll be glad to get it to you to kind of put out in the communities. But her target date to start this program is the 1st of July, around the 11th. And then the second program grant that she received was for grocery bags and produce bags. And this would just be in addition to the senior meal program. They would receive, 1 week they'll receive groceries, 1 week they'll receive produce. And both of these grants will be funded until those funds run out. And then she could apply if another grant comes available. she worked really hard to get those two extra grants to help out in the community. And she did say to tell everyone, anybody who knows anyone, they're welcome to apply. They don't have to be in those specific areas. Those were just their target areas because there's, like here at Danbury, they can come and do meals, and Warren Cove, they could do meals. So she just thought those areas were kind of left out during certain things, so she wanted to provide some things to that area.
Okay, thank you. Board members have any questions? All right. Well, thank you. We'll have it on action for next time as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item is the Jcpc funding allocation request, Amber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Stokes County Juvenile Crime Prevention Council anticipated that the allocation for Stokes County would be $166,918 for the fiscal year 22-23. They distributed the request for proposals on January 27th. They heard proposals on March 15th, and they made final funding recommendations on May 17th. And if you pull it up, you can see the chart. Below, they recommended they have the breakdown of the different agencies. This request is the same as last year's request, and they are requesting what's actually required, 30% match from the county for this allocation request. So the county match would be the same because the allocation request is the same as last year.
Okay. All right. Board members have any questions on this?
None.
Thank you. And that includes the teen, yeah, I
Yeah,
see
and
it,
can we-
teen courts on there. Okay.
Don't mind, can we actually move that to action for today, so that way the agencies can go ahead and know what their breakdown
All
of
right.
funding
Is
is?
that okay? All right. That'll be item D. The Jcpc allotment allocation. Okay. All right. The next item is the Lawsonville fireworks approval request, and we have Fire Marshal Scott Aaron here.
Good evening, thank y'all for having me. This is just a normal process that we have to go through anytime we have pyrotechnics in the county. Outside of the town of Warren Cove and city of King, they do their own. Anytime we have a pyrotechnics show in the county, we have to get approval by the commissioners. And then I go and do the site inspection and issue the permit. This is just a request from Lawsonville, that the Red Road Group will be doing a fireworks display on July the 2nd.
Okay. Board members have, go ahead.
I thought saw in there that you want it to be recurring, so we don't have to do this every year.
There are some questions about that. We went back and looked that if a site is approved, there were some questions from fire marshals from previous years ago. When Stephen was here, we were talking about it, that they thought that it was up to you as the commissioners. If a site is approved, such as this one, they've done it, this will be the third year, that once that they approve this site, as long as nothing changes, that we could just issue the permit. We'll still have to go out and do the inspection, that's required by the state of North Carolina. That we still go out and do the permit and the inspection, but that we not have to come back before the commissioners every time that a site is used again. This could run into more, we're seeing it more now with wedding venues wanting to use close proximity fireworks, which still falls under the state of North Carolina as having to be permitted. So it could be that we would be coming back on a regular basis, but we would still have to come that initial time for approval for a site.
I'm fine with just making it recurring and not coming back every time.
Yeah, if you go have it at the same place every year, you know.
And that would be my thing, as long as it's the same place, the same venue, and the same, setup, that we just go out and do a plan review, and like I say, we have to be there during the shoot. I have to do an inspection of the pyrotechnics before the shoot, and then do an inspection after the shoot of anything that didn't go off. So we're gonna be there anyway.
Right. Okay. I don't have a problem with it being reoccurring. Is Glenn Knox, that's who's done it in the past? I didn't realize he did that. That's good. He's a man of many talents. Okay.
And we're
All right.
fine with this being the approval on the next, we got.
Okay, for action on the next.
That's the reason we want to try to get it out as.
All right, we'll get it on action on the next one. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. The next item is the North Carolina Forestry Service building lease. Amber?
So the lease that the county currently has with the state of North Carolina and the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services is expiring and needs to be renewed. So this lease allows for several members of the NC Forest Service to have 3 offices and some storage space at the Community Services Building, which is the old school building, and that's where Cooperative Extension and Senior Services are. So this new lease agreement is being presented for 3 years and is the same lease as the county has had previously for this arrangement. And you can see all the terms of the lease as it has been in years past in this current lease, and it's listed all the different stipulations.
Okay. Do board members have any questions about this lease?
I have a couple of corrections in there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
On the first page, the description that's in bold, in approximately 655 square feet, in parentheses, it's got 650. It needs to be changed to 655 to match
655.
655 immediately prior to that.
Okay,
Typo.
okay.
And on page 4, paragraph 18, it refers to Union County's internet use policy. It should be Stokes County.
Okay. All right,
Thanks for pointing that out. We'll get with the state for them to make those corrections.
They apparently used to be Union County.
Apparently.
Yeah, that happens, so.
okay,
We'll get
all
with
right.
them to make those changes.
The next page says County Awake on page, yeah, if you scroll down to the notary page.
Well,
next
it may be Wake County.
Yeah, I think it is Wake
Well,
County. That's how it was on the
Oh, so
previous
that's that
one.
one. So that one's okay.
That one's okay.
Okay, all right. We'll make those changes and have it on action at the next meeting. All right, that takes us to the action agenda, and the first item is Stokes County's Aging Planning Committee appointment. At the last meeting, the board nominated Jack Sneed, Tammy Mabe Bennett, Joanne Hall, and Judy Hennis to the Stokes County Aging Planning Committee. I'll open the floor for any further nominations.
Make a motion, we close.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And I'll poll the board on list as presented.
As presented. As presented.
Presented.
As presented, all right. Gotcha on that one. The next item is the proclamation recognizing Foster Care Month. And now I got to find that. Okay, let me read that. Whereas children are key to our community's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, and whereas children have a right to thrive, learn, and grow in a safe and loving environment, and whereas foster parents provide the love, safety, and stability that children need in order to overcome past traumatic experience in order to reach their full potential, and whereas Stokes County foster parents are caring for and nurturing 10 children and youth in foster care today, with the remaining 68 children and youth being cared for in foster homes, group homes, and kinship family homes throughout the state. And whereas we must come together as a community to recognize the important role foster parents play in caring for children who have experienced abuse, neglect, supporting family reunification, and building strong communities. And whereas there is a desperate need for more foster parents in order to ensure children, especially older children and children with complex needs and siblings, have a safe and stable home in their community. And whereas there are numerous individuals, nonprofit organizations, and public servants who are dedicated to raising awareness about the needs of children and youth in foster care, and whereas through partnerships with families, child welfare, staff, and public and private agencies, there is a collaborative effort to ensure that children are supported and successful. Now therefore, we, the Stokes County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May of 2022 as Foster Care Month in Stokes County, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families, dated this 23rd day of May. We'll all sign this. We'll pass it around. Okay.
Motion we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and item C is the insurance renewals.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And item D is the Jcpc allocation.
Motion
All
approved.
right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Do you have a proclamation for us to sign?